Book 72, Dress. Narrated Abdullah bin Omar. Allah's Apostle said, Allah will not look at the person who drags his garment behind him, out of conceit. Narrated Abdullah bin Omar. The Prophet said Allah will not look, on the day of resurrection, at the person who drags his garment behind him, out of conceit. On that Abu Bakr said, O Allah's Apostle, one side of my izar hangs low if I do not take care of it. The Prophet said, you are not one of those who do that out of conceit. Narrated Abu Bakr. The solar eclipse occurred while we were sitting with the Prophet. He got up dragging his garment on the ground, hurriedly till he reached the mosque. The people turned to the mosque, and he offered a 2-rakat prayer, whereupon the eclipse was over, and he traced us and said, the sun and the moon are 2 signs among the signs of Allah, so if you see a thing like this, eclipse, then offer the prayer and invoke Allah till he remove that state. Narrated Abu Juhayfa. I saw Bilal bringing an answer, a small spear, and fixing it in the ground, and then he proclaimed the ikana of the prayer, and I saw Allah's Apostle coming out, wearing a cloak with its sleeves rolled up. He then offered a 2-rakat prayer while facing the answer, and I saw the people and animals passing in front of him beyond the answer. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, the part of an izar which hangs below the ankles is in the fire. Narrated Abu Hurairah. Allah's Apostle, Allah will not look, on the day of resurrection, at a person who drags his izar behind him, out of pride and arrogance. Narrated Abu Hurairah. The Prophet, or Abu al-Qasim, said, while a man was walking, clad in a 2-piece garment and proud of himself with his hair well combed, suddenly Allah made him sink into the earth, and he will go on sinking into it till the day of resurrection. Narrated Abdullah bin Omar. Allah's Apostle said, while a man was dragging his izar on the ground behind him, suddenly Allah made him sink into the earth, and he will go on sinking into it till the day of resurrection. Narrated Abu Hurairah, that he heard the Prophet narrating as above. Number 680. Narrated Abdullah bin Omar. Allah's Apostle said, whoever drags his clothes on the ground, out of pride and arrogance, Allah will not look at him on the day of resurrection. Narrated Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, the wife of Rifa al-Karazi, came to Allah's Apostle while I was sitting, and Abu Bakr was also there. She said, O Allah's Apostle, I was the wife of Rifa and he divorced me irrevocably. Then I married Abdurrahman bin Az-Zubair, who, by Allah, O Allah's Apostle, has only something like a fringe of a garment, showing the fringe of her veil. Khalid bin Said, who was standing at the door, for he had not been admitted, heard her statement and said, O Abu Bakr, why do you not stop this lady from saying such things openly before Allah's Apostle? No, by Allah, Allah's Apostle did nothing but smiled. Then he said to the lady, perhaps you want to return to Rifa'a? That is impossible unless Abdurrahman consummates his marriage with you. That became the tradition after him. Narrated Ali. The Prophet asked for his reader, put it on and set out walking. Zayd bin Haritha and I followed him till he reached the house where Hamza bin Abdul Muttalib was present, and asked for permission to enter, and they gave us permission. Narrated Ibn Umar. A man asked, O Allah's Apostle, what kind of clothes should a muhrim wear? The Prophet said, a muhrim should not wear a shirt, trousers, a hooded cloak, or cuffs, leather socks covering the ankles, unless he cannot get sandals, in which case he should cut the part of the cuff that covers the ankles. Narrated Jabir bin Abdullah. The Prophet came to visit Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul, after he had been put in his grave. The Prophet ordered that Abdullah be taken out. He was taken out and was placed on the knees of the Prophet, who blew his blessed breath on him and dressed the body with his own shirt. And Allah knows better. Narrated Abdullah bin Omar. When Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul died, his son came to Allah's Apostle and said, O Allah's Apostle, give me your shirt so that I may shroud my father's body in it. And please offer a funeral prayer for him and invoke Allah for his forgiveness. The Prophet gave him his shirt and said to him, inform us when you finish, and the funeral procession is ready, call us. When he had finished he told the Prophet, and the Prophet proceeded to order his funeral prayers, but Umar stopped him and said, Didn't Allah forbid you to offer the funeral prayer for the hypocrites when he said, whether you, O Muhammad, ask forgiveness for them or ask not forgiveness for them, and even, if you ask forgiveness for them 70 times, Allah will not forgive them. 9.80 Then there was revealed, and never, O Muhammad, pray for any of them that dies, nor stand at his grave. 9.34 Thenceforth the Prophet did not offer funeral prayers for the hypocrites. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle has set forth an example for a miser and a charitable person by comparing them to two men wearing two iron cloaks and their hands are raised to their breasts and necks. Whenever the charitable man tries to give a charitable gift, his iron cloak expands till it becomes so wide that it will cover his fingertips and obliterate his tracks, and, whenever the miser wants to give a charitable gift, his cloak becomes very tight over him and every ring gets stuck to its place. Abu Hurairah added, I saw Allah's Apostle putting his finger in their chest pocket of his shirt like that if you but saw him trying to widen the opening of his shirt, but it did not widen. Narrated Al-Mughira bin Shu'bah, the Prophet went to answer the call of nature, and when he returned, I met him with water and he performed the ablution while he was wearing a sham cloak. He rinsed his mouth, put the water in his nose and blew it out, washed his face and tried to take his hands out of his sleeves, but they were too narrow, so he took out his hands from under his chest and washed them and then passed his wet hands over his head and cuffs, leather socks. Narrated Al-Mughira, one night I was with the Prophet on a journey. He asked me, have you got water with you? I replied, yes. So he got down from his she-camel and went away till he disappeared in the darkness of the night. Then he came back and I poured water for him from the pot, for the ablution. He washed his face and hands while he was wearing a woolen cloak, the sleeves of which were narrow, so he could not take his arms out of it. So he took them out from underneath the cloak. Then he washed his forearms and passed his wet hands over his head. Then I tried to take off his cuffs, but he said, leave them, for I have performed ablution before putting them on. And so he passed his wet hands over them. Narrated Al-Miswar bin Makramah, Allah's Apostle distributed some Kabas but he did not give anything to Makramah. Makramah said, to me, O my son, let us go to Allah's Apostle. So I proceeded with him and he said, go in and call him or me. So I called the Prophet for him. The Prophet came out to him, wearing one of those Kabas and said, to Makramah, I have kept this for you. Makramah looked at it and said, Makramah is satisfied now. Narrated Uqba bin Amir, a silken farouj was presented to Allah's Apostle and he put it on and offered the prayer in it. When he finished the prayer, he took it off violently as if he disliked it and said, this garment does not befit those who fear Allah. Narrated Abdullah bin Omar, a man said, O Allah's Apostle, what type of clothes should a Muhrim wear? Allah's Apostle replied, do not wear shirts, turbans, trousers, hooded cloaks or cuffs, but if someone cannot get sandals, then he can wear cuffs after cutting them short below the ankles. Do not wear clothes touched by saffron or wars, two kinds of perfumes. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, whoever cannot get in his eye can wear trousers, and whoever cannot wear sandals can wear cuffs. Narrated Abdullah, a man got up and said, O Allah's Apostle, what do you order us to wear when we assume the state of ihram? The Prophet replied, do not wear shirts, trousers, turbans, hooded cloaks or cuffs, but if a man has no sandals, he can wear cuffs after cutting them short below the ankles, and do not wear clothes touched with perfumes of saffron or wars. Narrated Abdullah bin Omar, the Prophet said, a Muhrim should not wear a shirt, a turban, trousers, hooded cloaks, a garment touched with perfumes of saffron or wars, or cuffs except if one has no sandals, in which case he should cut short the cuffs below the ankles. Narrated Aisha, some Muslim men emigrated to Ethiopia, whereupon Abu Bakr also prepared himself for the emigration. But the Prophet said to him, wait, for I hope that Allah will allow me also to emigrate. Abu Bakr said, let my father and mother be sacrificed for you. Do you hope that emigration? The Prophet said, yes. So Abu Bakr waited to accompany the Prophet and fed 2 she-camels he had on the leaves of As-Sama tree regularly for 4 months. One day while we were sitting in our house at midday, someone said to Abu Bakr, "Here is Allah's apostle, coming with his head and a part of his face covered with a cloth covering at an hour he never used to come to us." Abu Bakr said, "Let my father and mother be sacrificed for you, O Prophet. An urgent matter must have brought you here at this hour." The Prophet came and asked the permission to enter, and he was allowed. The Prophet entered and said to Abu Bakr, "Let those who are with you go out." Abu Bakr replied, "There is no stranger, they are your family. Let my father be sacrificed for you, O Allah's apostle." The Prophet said, "I have been allowed to leave Mecca." Abu Bakr said, "I shall accompany you, O Allah's apostles, let my father be sacrificed for you." The Prophet said, "Yes." Abu Bakr said, "O Allah's apostles, let my father be sacrificed for you. Take one of these 2 she-camels of mine." The Prophet said, "I will take it only after paying its price." So we prepared their baggage and put their journey food in a leather bag. And Isma bint Abu Bakr cut a piece of her girdle and tied the mouth of the leather bag with it. That is why she was called Datnitakal. Then the Prophet and Abu Bakr went to a cave in a mountain called Thur and remained there for 3 nights. Abdullah bin Abu Bakr, who was a young intelligent man, used to stay with them at night and leave before dawn so that in the morning, he would be with the Quraysh at Mecca as if he had spent the night among them. If he heard of any plot contrived by the Quraysh against the Prophet and Abu Bakr, he would understand it and return to inform them of it when it became dark. Amir bin Fuhaira, the freed slave of Abu Bakr, used to graze a flock of milch sheep for them, and he used to take those sheep to them when an hour had passed after the Isha prayer. They would sleep soundly till Amir bin Fuhaira awakened them when it was still dark. He used to do that in each of those 3 nights. Narrated Anas bin Malik, in the year of the conquest of Mecca the Prophet entered Mecca, wearing a helmet on his head. Narrated Anas bin Malik, once I was walking with Allah's apostle and he was wearing an ajran bird with thick margin. A Bedouin followed him and pulled his bird so violently that I noticed the side of the shoulder of Allah's apostle affected by the margin of the bird because of that violent pull. The Bedouin said, "O Muhammad, give me some of Allah's wealth which is with you." Allah's apostle turned and looked at him, and smiling, he ordered that he be given something. Narrated Abu Hazim, Shal bin Sa'd said, a lady came with a burda. Sal then asked the people, "Do you know what burda is?" Somebody said, "Yes. It is a shamla with a woven border." Sal added, "The lady said, O Allah's apostle, I have knitted this burda with my own hands for you to wear it." Allah's apostle took it and he was in need of it. Allah's apostle came out to us and he was wearing it as a nizar. A man from the people felt it and said, "O Allah's apostle, give it to me to wear." The Prophet said, "Yes." Then he sat there for some time, and when he went to his house, he folded it and sent it to him. The people said to that man, "You have not done a right thing. You asked him for it, though you know that he does not put down anybody's request." The man said, "By Allah, I have only asked him so that it may be my shroud when I die." Sal added, "Late it was his shroud." Narrated Abu Hurairah, I heard Allah's apostle saying from among my followers, a group, 70,000, will enter paradise without being asked for their accounts, their faces will be shining like the moon. Ukasha bin Muhsin al-Asadi got up, lifting his covering sheet and said, "O Allah's apostle, invoke Allah for me that he may include me with them." The Prophet said, "O Allah, make him from them." Then another man from Al-Ansar got up and said, "O Allah's apostle, invoke Allah for me that he may include me with them." On that Allah's apostle said, "Ukasha has anticipated you." Narrated Qatada, I asked Anas, what kind of clothes was most beloved to the Prophet? He replied, the hibra, a kind of Yemeni's cloth. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the most beloved garment to the Prophet to wear was the hibra, a kind of Yemeni's cloth. Narrated Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, when Allah's apostle died, he was covered with a hibra bird, green square decorated garment. Narrated Aisha and Abdullah bin Abbas, When the disease of Allah's apostle got aggravated, he covered his face with a kamizah, but when he became short of breath, he would remove it from his face and say, "It is like that." May Allah curse the Jews Christians because they took the graves of their prophets as places of worship. By that he warned his follower of imitating them, by doing that which they did. Narrated Abu Burda, Aisha brought out to us a kisa and an izar and said, the Prophet died while wearing these two. Kisa, a square black piece of woolen cloth. Izar, a sheet cloth garment covering the lower half of the body. Narrated Aisha, Allah's apostle offered prayer while he was wearing a kamizah of his that had printed marks. He looked at its marks and when he finished prayer, he said, "Take this kamizah of mine to Abu Jam, for it has just now diverted my attention from my prayer, and bring to me the Anbajania, a plain thick sheet, of Abu Jam bin Hudayf bin Ghanam who belonged to Bani Adi bin Kab." Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet had forbidden, a. the milamazah and manaboda, bargains, b. the offering of two prayers, one after the morning compulsory prayer till the sun rises, and the others, after the asr prayer till the sun sets, c. He also forbade that one should sit wearing one garment, nothing of which covers his private parts, d. and prevent them from exposure to the sky, e. He also forbade ishtimal as-sama. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Allah's apostle forbade two ways of wearing clothes and two kinds of dealings. A. He forbade the dealings of the milamazah and the manaboda. In the milamazah transaction the buyer just touches the garment he wants to buy at night or by daytime, and that touch would oblige him to buy it. In the manaboda, one man throws his garment at another and the latter throws his at the former and the barter is complete and valid without examining the two objects or being satisfied with them. B. The two ways of wearing clothes were ishtimal as-sama, i.e., to cover one's shoulder with one's garment and leave the other bare, and the other way was to wrap oneself with a garment while one was sitting in such a way that nothing of that garment would cover one's private part. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's apostle forbade two types of dresses, a. to sit in a nihtiba posture in one garment nothing of which covers his private parts, b. to cover one side of his body with one garment and leave the other side bare. The Prophet also forbade the milamazah and manaboda. Narrated Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet forbade ishtimal as-sama and that a man should sit in a nihtiba posture in one garment, nothing of which covers his private parts. Narrated Khalid bin Khalid, the Prophet was given some clothes including a black kamizah. The Prophet said, "To whom shall we give this to wear?" The people kept silent whereupon the Prophet said, "Fetch Khalid for me." I, Khalid, was brought carried, as I was small girl at that time. The Prophet took the kamizah in his hands and made me wear it and said, "May you live so long that your dress will wear out and you will mend it many times." On the kamizah there were some green or pale designs. The Prophet saw these designs, and said, "O Khalid, this is Sanaa." Sanaa in an Ethiopian word meaning beautiful. Narrated Anas, when Sulaim gave birth to a child, she said to me, "O Anas, watch this boy carefully and do not give him anything to eat or drink until you have taken him to the Prophet tomorrow morning for the tonic." So the next morning I took the child to the Prophet who was sitting in a garden and was wearing a Harathiya kamizah and was branding the she-camel on which he had come during the conquest of Mecca. Narrated Ikrimah, Rifa'a divorced his wife whereupon Abdurrahman bin Az-Zubair al-Kharazi married her. Aisha said that the lady came, wearing a green veil, and complained to her, Aisha, of her husband and showed her a green spot on her skin caused by beating. It was the habit of ladies to support each other, so when Allah's apostle came, Aisha said, "I have not seen any woman suffering as much as the believing women. Look. Her skin is greener than her clothes." When Abdurrahman heard that his wife had gone to the Prophet, he came with his two sons from another wife. She said, "By Allah, I have done no wrong to him but he is impotent and is as useless to me as this," holding and showing the fringe of her garment. Abdurrahman said, "By Allah, O Allah's apostle, she has told a lie. I am very strong and can satisfy her but she is disobedient and wants to go back to Rifa'a." Allah's apostle said, to her, "If that is your intention, then know that it is unlawful for you to remarry Rifa'a unless Abdurrahman has had sexual intercourse with you." Then the Prophet saw two boys with Abdurrahman and asked him, "Are these your sons?" On that Abdurrahman said, "Yes." The Prophet said, "You claim what you claim, that is, that he is impotent? But by Allah, these boys resemble him as a crow resembles a crow." Narrated Sa'd, on the day of the Battle of Uhud, on the right and on the left of the Prophet were two men wearing white clothes, and I had neither seen them before, nor did I see them afterwards. Narrated Abu Dar, I came to the Prophet while he was wearing white clothes and sleeping. Then I went back to him again after he had got up from his sleep. He said, "Nobody says, none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and then later on he dies while believing in that, except that he will enter paradise." I said, "Even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and theft." I said, "Even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and theft." He said, "Even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and theft." I said, "Even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and thefts." He said, "Even if he had committed illegal sexual intercourse and theft, in spite of the Abu Dar's dislikeness." Abu Abdullah said, "This is at the time of death or before it. If one repents and regrets and says none has the right to be worshipped but Allah, he will be forgiven his sins." Narrated Abu Uthman an-Nadi, while we were with Utbah bin Farqad at Adarbajan, there came Ummar's letter indicating that Allah's apostle had forbidden the use of silk except this much. Then he pointed with his index and middle fingers. To our knowledge, by that he meant embroidery. Narrated Abu Uthman, while we were at Adarbajan, Ummar wrote to us, "Allah's apostle forbade wearing silk except this much." Then the Prophet approximated his two fingers, index and middle fingers, to illustrate that, to us. Zuhair, the sub-narrator, raised up his middle and index fingers. Narrated Abu Uthman, while we were with Utbah, Ummar wrote to us, "The Prophet said, there is none who wears silk in this world except that he will wear nothing of it in the hereafter." Abu Uthman pointed out with his middle and index fingers. Narrated Abu Uthman, as above, 719. Narrated Ibn Abi Layla, while Hudayfa was at Al-Madain, he asked for water, whereupon the chief of the village brought him water in a silver cup. Hudayfa threw it at him and said, "I have thrown it only because I have forbidden him to use it, but he does not stop using it." Allah's apostle said, "Gold, silver, silk and dibaj, a kind of silk, are for them, unbelievers, in this world, and for you, Muslims, in the hereafter." Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet said, "Whoever wears silk in this world shall not wear it in the hereafter." Narrated Thabit, I heard Ibn Az-Zubayr delivering a sermon, saying, Muhammad said, "Whoever wears silk in this world, shall not wear it in the hereafter." Narrated Ibn Az-Zubayr, I heard Ammar saying, "The Prophet said, Whoever wears silk in this world, shall not wear it in the hereafter." Narrated Ammar bin al-Khattab, Allah's apostle said, "None wears silk in this world, but he who will have no share in the hereafter." Narrated Al-Bara, the Prophet was given a silk garment as a gift, and we started touching it with our hands and admiring it. On that the Prophet said, "Do you wonder at this?" We said, "Yes." He said, "The handkerchiefs of Sa'd bin Mu'adh in paradise are better than this." Narrated Hudayfa, the Prophet forbade us to drink out of gold and silver vessels, or eat in it, and also forbade the wearing of silk and dibaj or sitting on it. Narrated Ibn Azib, the Prophet forbade us to use the red miltha and to use al-kasih. Narrated Anas, the Prophet allowed Az-Zubayr and Abdurrahman to wear silk because they were suffering from an itch. Narrated Ali bin Abi Talib, the Prophet gave me a silk suit. I went out wearing it, but seeing the signs of anger on his face, I tore it and distributed it among my wives. Narrated Abdullah bin Umar, Ammar saw a silk suit being sold, so he said, "O Allah's apostle, why don't you buy it so that you may wear it when delegates come to you, and also on Fridays?" The Prophet said, "This is worn only by him who has no share in the hereafter." Afterwards the Prophet sent an Ammar a silk suit suitable for wearing. Ammar said to the Prophet, You have given it to me to wear, yet I have heard you saying about it what you said." The Prophet said, "I sent it to you so that you might either sell it or give it to somebody else to wear." Narrated Anas bin Malik, that he had seen Kulthum, the daughter of Allah's Apostle, wearing a red silk garment. Narrated Ibn Abbas, for 1 year one wanted to ask Umar about the two women who helped each other against the Prophet, but I was afraid of him. One day he dismounted his riding animal and went among the trees of Iraq to answer the call of nature, and when he returned, I asked him and he said, "They were Aisha and Hafsa." Then he added, "We never used to give significance to ladies in the days of the pre-Islamic period of ignorance, but when Islam came and Allah mentioned their rights, we used to give them their rights but did not allow them to interfere in our affairs. Once there was some dispute between me and my wife and she answered me back in a loud voice. I said to her, 'Strange. You can retort in this way?' She said, 'Yes. Do you say this to me while your daughter troubles Allah's Apostle?' So I went to Hafsa and said to her, 'I warn you not to disobey Allah and His Apostle.' I first went to Hafsa and then to Salama, and told her the same. She said to me, 'O Umar, it surprises me that you interfere in our affairs so much that you would poke your nose even into the affairs of Allah's Apostle and his wives.' So she rejected my advice. There was an Ansari man, whenever he was absent from Allah's Apostle and I was present there, I used to convey to him what had happened on that day, and when I was absent and he was present there, he used to convey to me what had happened as regards news from Allah's Apostle. During that time all the rulers of the nearby lands had surrendered to Allah's Apostle except the king of Ghassan in Sham, and we were afraid that he might attack us. All of a sudden the Ansari came and said, 'A great event has happened.' I asked him, 'What is it? Has the Ghassani king come?' He said, 'Greater than that. Allah's Apostle has divorced his wives.' I went to them and found all them weeping in their dwellings, and the Prophet had ascended to an upper room of his. At the door of the room there was a slave to whom I went and said, 'Ask the permission for me to enter.' He admitted me and I entered to see the Prophet lying on a mat that had left its imprint on his side. Under his head there was a leather pillow stuffed with palm fires. Behold, there were some hides hanging there and some grass for tanning. Then I mentioned what I had said to Hafsa and Salama and what reply Salama had given me. Allah's Apostle smiled and stayed there for 29 days and then came down. See Hadith number 648, Volume 3 for details. Narrated Salama, one night the Prophet woke up, saying, "None has the right to be worshipped but Allah. How many afflictions have been sent down tonight, and how many treasures have been sent down, disclosed. Who'll go and wake up, for prayers, the lady dwellers of these rooms? Many well-dressed people, in this world, will be naked on the day of resurrection." Narrated Khalid bint Khalid, some clothes were presented to Allah's Apostle as a gift and there was a black kamisa with it. The Prophet asked his companions, "To whom do you suggest we give this kamisa?" The people kept quiet. Then he said, "Bring me Khalid." So I was brought to him and he dressed me with it with his own hands and said twice, "May you live so long that you will wear out many garments." He then started looking at the embroidery of that kamisa and said, "O Khalid, this is Sana." Sana in Ethiopian language means beautiful. Ishaq, a sub-narrator, said, "A woman of my family had told me that she had seen the kamisa worn by Khalid." Narrated Anas, the Prophet forbade men to use saffron. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet forbade Murims to wear clothes dyed with wars or saffron. Narrated Al-Bara, the Prophet was of a modest height. I saw him wearing a red suit, and I did not see anything better than him. Narrated Al-Bara, the Prophet ordered us to observe 7 things, to visit the sick, follow funeral processions, say may Allah bestow his mercy on you, to the sneezer if he says, praise be to Allah. He forbade us to wear silk, dabaj, kasa and istibak, various kinds of silken clothes, or to use red mayatha, silk cushions. See Hadith number 253a, Volume 8. Narrated said Abu Maslama, I asked Anas bin Malik, did the Prophet choose to offer the prayers with his shoes on? He said, yes. Narrated said Al-Makburi, Ubay bin Jurayj said to Abdullah bin Umar, I see you doing 4 things which are not done by your friends. Ibn Umar said, what are they, O Ibn Jurayj? He said, I see that you do not touch except the 2 Yemenite corners of the Kaaba, while performing the tawaf, and I see you wearing the sabtiyah shoes, and I see you dyeing your hair with sufra, and I see that when you are in Mecca, the people assume the state of ihram on seeing the crescent, on the first day of Dhul Hijjah, while you do not assume the state of ihram till the day of Tarwiyah, 8th Dhul Hijjah. Abdullah bin Umar said to him, as for the corners of the Kaaba, I have not seen Allah's apostle touching except the 2 Yemenite corners. As for the sabtiyah shoes, I saw Allah's apostle wearing leather shoes that had no hair, and he used to perform the ablution while wearing them. Therefore, I like to wear such shoes. As regards dyeing with sufra, I saw Allah's apostle dyeing his hair with it, so I like to dye my hair with it. As regards the crescent of Dhul Hijjah, I have not seen Allah's apostle assuming the state of ihram till his she-camel set out, on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's apostle forbade that a muhrim should wear clothes dyed with saffron or wars, and said, whoever has no shoes can put on cuffs after cutting it below the ankles. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet said, whoever has no izar, waist sheet, can wear trousers, and whoever has no sandals, can wear cuffs, but cut them short below the ankles. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet used to like starting from the right in performing ablution, combing his hair and putting on his shoes. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's apostle said, none of you should walk, wearing 1 shoe only, he should either put on both shoes or put on no shoes whatsoever. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's apostle said, if you want to put on your shoes, put on the right shoe first, and if you want to take them off, take the left one first. Let the right shoe be the first to be put on and the last to be taken off. Narrated Anas, the sandal of the Prophet had 2 straps. Narrated Isa bin Taman, Anas bin Malik brought out for us 2 sandals having 2 straps. Thabit al-Banani said, these were the sandals of the Prophet. Narrated Abu Juhayfa, I came to the Prophet while he was inside a red leather tent, and I saw Bilal taking the remaining water of the ablution of the Prophet, and the people were taking of that water and rubbing it on their faces, and whoever could not get anything of it, would share the moisture of the hand of his companion, and then rub it on his face. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet called for the Ansar and gathered them in a leather tent. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet chose to construct a loom with a hazir at night in order to pray therein, and during the day he used to spread it out and sit on it. The people started coming to the Prophet at night to offer the prayer behind him. When their number increased, the Prophet faced them and said, O people! Do only those good deeds which you can do, for Allah does not get tired of giving reward, till you get tired, and the best deeds to Allah are the incessant ones through they were few. Narrated Al-Bara bin Azib, the Prophet forbade us to use 7 things. He forbade using gold rings, silk, istabraq, dibaj, red myrrh, alkaseh, and silver utensils. He ordered us to do 7 other things: to pay a visit to the sick, to follow funeral processions, to say, May Allah be merciful to you, to a sneezer if he says praise be to Allah, to return greetings, to accept invitations, to help others to fulfill their oaths and to help the oppressed ones. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet forbade the wearing of a gold ring. Narrated Abdullah, Allah's apostle wore a gold or silver ring and placed its stone towards the palm of his hand. The people also started wearing gold rings like it, but when the Prophet saw them wearing such rings, he threw away that golden ring and then wore a silver ring. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's apostle wore a gold ring or a silver ring and placed its stone towards the palm of his hand and had the name Muhammad, the apostle of Allah, engraved on it. The people also started wearing gold rings like it, but when the Prophet saw them wearing such rings, he threw away his own ring and said, I will never wear it, and then wore a silver ring, whereupon the people too started wearing silver rings. Ibn Umar added, after the Prophet Abu Bakr wore the ring, and then Umar, and then Uthman wore it till it fell in the air as well from Uthman bin Umar. Allah's apostle wore a gold ring, then he threw it and said, I will never wear it. The people also threw their gold rings. Narrated Anas bin Malik, that he saw a silver ring on the hand of Allah's apostle for one day only. Then the people had silver rings made for themselves and wore it. On that, Allah's apostle threw away their rings as well. For the details of this hadith, see Fath al-Bari, Volume 12, page 438. Narrated Humayd, Anas was asked, did the Prophet wear a ring? Anas said, once he delayed the Isha prayer till midnight. Then he came, facing us, as if I am now looking at the glitter of his ring, and said, the people have offered their prayers and slept, but you have been in prayer as you have been waiting for it. Narrated Anas, the ring of the Prophet was of silver, and its stone was of silver too. Narrated Sal, a woman came to the Prophet and said, I have come to present myself to you, for marriage. She kept standing for a long period, during which period the Prophet looked at her carefully. When she stayed for a long period, a man said to the Prophet, if you are not in need of her, then marry her to me. The Prophet said, have you got anything to give her, Isma? The man said, no. The Prophet said, go to your house, and search for something. The man went and came back to say, by Allah, I could not find anything. The Prophet said, go again and search for something, even if it be an iron ring. He went again and came back saying, no, by Allah, I could not get even an iron ring. The man had only an izar and had no reader, upper garment. He said, I will give her my izar Asma. On that the Prophet said, your izar, if she wears it, nothing of it will remain on you, and if you wear it nothing of it will be on her. The man went aside and sat down. When the Prophet saw him leaving, after a while, he called back and asked, how much Quran do you know, by heart? He said, I know such and such surahs, naming some surahs. The Prophet said, I marry her to you for the amount of Quran you know, by heart. Narrated Anas bin Malik, Allah's apostle wanted to write a letter to a group of people or some non-Arabs. It was said to him, they do not accept any letter unless it is stamped. So the Prophet had a silver ring made for himself, and on it was engraved, Muhammad, the apostle of Allah. As if I am now looking at the glitter of the ring on the finger, or in the palm, of the Prophet. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's apostle had a silver ring made for himself and it was worn by him on his hand. Afterwards it was worn by Abu Bakr, and then by Umar, and then by Uthman till it fell in the air as well. On that ring, was engraved, Muhammad, the apostle of Allah. Narrated Anas, the Prophet got a ring made for himself and said, I have got a ring made, for myself, and engraved a certain engraving on it, so none of you should get such an engraving on his ring. I saw the glitter of the ring on his little finger. Narrated Anas bin Malik, when the Prophet intended to write to the Byzantines, it was said to him, those people do not read your letter unless it is stamped. So the Prophet took a silver ring and got Muhammad, the apostle of Allah, engraved on it, as if I am now looking at its glitter in his hand. Narrated Abdullah, the Prophet had a golden ring made for himself, and when he wore it, he used to turn its stone toward the palm of his hand. So the people too had gold made for themselves. The Prophet then ascended the pulpit, and after glorifying and praising Allah, he said, I had it made for me, but now I will never wear it again. He threw it away, and then the people threw away their rings too. Juwair, a sub-narrator, said, I think Anas said that the Prophet was wearing the ring in his right hand. Narrated Anas bin Malik, Allah's apostle took a silver ring and had Muhammad, the apostle of Allah, engraved on it. The Prophet then said to us, I have a silver ring with Muhammad, the apostle of Allah, engraved on it, so none of you should have the same engraving on his ring. Narrated Anas, that when Abu Bakr became the caliph, he wrote a letter to him, and stamped it with the Prophet's ring, and the engraving of the ring was in 3 lines, Muhammad in 1 line, Apostle in another line, and Allah in a 3rd line. Anas added, the ring of the Prophet was in his hand, and after him, in Abu Bakr's hand, and then in Umar's hand after Abu Bakr. When Uthman was the caliph, once he was sitting at the well of Aris. He removed the ring from his hand and while he was trifling with it, dropped into the well. We kept on going to the well with Uthman for 3 days looking for the ring, and finally the well was drained, but the ring was not found. Narrated Ibn Abbas, I offered the Eid prayer with the Prophet and he offered prayer before the khutbah, sermon. Ibn Abbas added, after the prayer the Prophet came towards the rows of the women and ordered them to give alms, and the women started putting their big and small rings in the garment of Baal. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet came out on the day of Eid and offered a 2-rakat prayer, and he did not pray any rakah before it, nor after it. Then he went towards the women and ordered them to give alms. The women started donating their earring and necklaces. Narrated Aisha, a necklace belonging to Isma was lost, and the Prophet sent men in its search. The time for the prayer became due and they were without ablution and they could not find water, therefore they prayed without ablution. They mentioned that to the Prophet. Then Allah revealed the verse of Tayammum. Aisha added, that she had borrowed the necklace from Isma. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet offered a 2-rakat prayer on a day and he did not offer any nawafil prayer before or after it. He then went towards the women, and Baal was accompanying him, and ordered them to give alms. And so the women started giving their earrings, etc. Narrated Abu Hurairah, I was with Allah's Apostle in one of the markets of Medina. He left the market, and so did I. Then he asked thrice, where is the small child? Then he said, call Al-Husayn bin Ali. So Al-Husayn bin Ali got up and started walking with a necklace of beads around his neck. The Prophet stretched his hand out like this, and Al-Husayn did the same. The Prophet embraced him and said, Allah. Love him, so please love him and love those who love him. Since Allah's Apostle said that, nothing has been dearer to me than Al-Husayn. Narrated Ibn Abbas, Allah's Apostle cursed those men who are in the similitude, assume the manners, of women and those women who are in the similitude, assume the manners, of men. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet cursed effeminate men, those men who are in the similitude, assume the manners of women, and those women who assume the manners of men, and he said, turn them out of your houses. The Prophet turned out such and such man, and Ammar turned out such and such woman. Narrated Salama, that once the Prophet was in her house, and an effeminate man was the two. The effeminate man said to Abdullah, Salama's brother, Abdullah, if Taf should be conquered tomorrow, I recommend you the daughter of Galen, for she is so fat that she has 4 curves in the front of her belly, and 8 at the back. So the Prophet said to his wives, these effeminate men should not enter upon you, your houses. Narrated Ibn Omar, the Prophet said, to get the mustaches cut short is characteristic of the Fitrah. Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's Apostle said, 5 practices are characteristics of the Fitrah: circumcision, shaving the pubic region, clipping the nails and cutting the mustaches short. Narrated Ibn Omar, Allah's Apostle said, to shave the pubic hair, to clip the nails and to cut the mustaches short, are characteristics of the Fitrah. Narrated Abu Hurairah, I heard the Prophet saying, 5 practices are characteristics of the Fitrah: circumcision, shaving the pubic hair, cutting the mustaches short, clipping the nails, and depilating the hair of the armpits. Narrated Nafi, Ibn Omar said, the Prophet said, do the opposite of what the pagans do. Keep the beards and cut the mustaches short. Whenever Ibn Omar performed the Hajj or Umrah, he used to hold his beard with his hand and cut whatever mustaches. Ibn Omar used to cut his mustache so short that the whiteness of his skin, above the upper lip, was visible, and he used to cut the hair between his mustaches and his beard. Narrated Ibn Omar, Allah's Apostle said, cut the mustaches short and leave the beard as it is. Narrated Muhammad bin Sirin, I asked Anas, did the Prophet dye his hair? Anas replied, the Prophet did not have except a few grey hairs. Narrated Thabit, Anas was asked whether the Prophet used a hair dye or not. Anas replied, the Prophet had not enough grey hair to dye. I could even count the white grey hairs oil his beard ill would. Narrated Isra. Uthman bin Abdullah bin Muhammad said, my people sent me with a bowl of water to Salama. Israel approximated 3 fingers, indicating the small size of the container in which there was some hair of the Prophet. Uthman added, if any person suffered from evil eye or some other disease, he would send a vessel, containing water, to Salama. I looked into the container, that held the hair of the Prophet, and saw a few red hairs in it. Narrated Uthman bin Abdullah bin Muhammad, I went to Salama, and she brought out for us some of the dyed hair of the Prophet. Ibn Muhammad also said that Salama had shown him the red hair of there. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, Jews and Christians do not dye their hair, so you should do the opposite of what they do. Narrated Anas bin Malik, the Prophet was neither conspicuously tall, nor short, neither very white, nor tawny. His hair was neither much curled, nor very straight. Allah sent him, as an apostle, at the age of 40, and after that, he stayed for 10 years in Mecca, and for 10 more years in Medina. Allah took him unto him at the age of 60, and he scarcely had 10 white hairs on his head and in his beard. Narrated Al-Bara, I did not see anybody in a red cloak looking more handsome than the Prophet. Narrated Malik, the hair of the Prophet used to hang near his shoulders. Narrated Shubba, the hair of the Prophet used to hang down to the earlobes. Narrated Abdullah bin Omar, Allah's apostle said, today I saw myself in a dream near the Kaaba. I saw a whitish-brown man, the handsomest of all brown men you might ever see. He had the most beautiful lima, hair hanging down to the earlobes, you might ever see. He had combed it and it was dripping water, and he was performing the tawaf around the Kaaba leaning on 2 men or on the shoulders of 2 men. El asked, who is this? It was said, Messiah, the son of Mary. Suddenly I saw a curly-haired man, blind in the right eye which looked like a protruding out grape. I asked, who is this? It was said, he is Mazai-ad-Dajj. Narrated Anas, the hair of the Prophet used to hang down up to his shoulders. Narrated Anas, the head hair of the Prophet used to hang down to his shoulders. Narrated Qatada, El asked Anas bin Malik about the hair of Allah's apostle. He said, the hair of Allah's apostle was neither much straight, nor much curly, and it used to hang down till between his shoulders and his earlobes. Narrated Anas, the Prophet had big hands, and I have never seen anybody like him after him. The hair of the Prophet was wavy, neither curly nor straight. Narrated Anas, the Prophet had big hands and feet, and I have not seen anybody like him, neither before nor after him, and his palms were soft. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet had big feet and a good-looking face, and I have not seen anybody like him after him. Narrated Anas, the Prophet had big feet and hands. Narrated Anas or Jabir bin Abdullah, the Prophet had big hands and feet, and I have not seen anybody like him after him. Narrated Mujahid, we were with Ibn Abbas and the people mentioned Ad-Dajj. Someone said, the word kafir, unbeliever, is written in between his, Ad-Dajjal's, eyes. Ibn Abbas said, I have not heard the Prophet saying this, but he said, as regards Abraham, he looks like your companion, that is the Prophet, Muhammad, and as regards Moses, he is a brown curly-haired man riding a camel and reined with a strong jute rope, as if lamb, now looking at him getting down in the valley and saying, Labbaik. Narrated Abdullah bin Omar, I heard Omar saying, whoever braids his hair should shave it, on finishing Rum. You'd better not do something like Talbid. Ibn Omar used to say, I saw Allah's apostle with his hair stuck together with gum. Narrated Ibn Omar, I heard Allah's apostle, while he was in the state of Rum and his hair was stuck together with gum, saying, Labbaik, Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la shanka laka labbaik. In alhamda wa nimata laka val mulk, la shanka lak. He did not add anything to those words. See Hadith number 621, Volume 2. Narrated Hafsa, the wife of the Prophet, I said, O Allah's apostle, why have the people finished their ihram after performing the Umrah while you have not finished your ihram after your Umrah? He said, I have done talbid, of my hair, and have decorated my hadis with garlands, so I shall not finish my ihram till I have slaughtered my hadi, animal for sacrifice. Narrated Ibn Abbas, the Prophet used to copy the people of the scriptures in matters in which there was no order from Allah. The people of the scripture used to let their hair hang down while the pagans used to part their hair. So the Prophet let his hair hang down first, but later on he parted it. Narrated Aisha, as if I am now looking at the shine of the hair parting of the Prophet while he was in the state of Ihram. Narrated Ibn Abbas, once I stayed overnight in the house of my aunt Maimuna bint al-Harith, and Allah's Apostle was with her as it was her turn. Allah's Apostle got up to offer the night prayer. I stood on his left, but he took hold of my 2 locks of hair and made me stand on his right. Narrated Abu Bishr, the above hadith, but he quoted, Ibn Abbas said, took hold of my 2 braids on my head. Narrated Ubaydullah bin Hafs, that Ammar bin Nafi told him that Nafi, Mawla Abdullah, had heard Ammar saying, I heard Allah's Apostle forbidding al-Qaza. Ubaydullah added, I said, what is al-Qaza? Ubaydullah pointed towards his head to show us and added, Nafi said, it is when a boy has his head shaved leaving a tuft of hair here and a tuft of hair there. Ubaydullah pointed towards his forehead and the sides of his head. Ubaydullah was asked, does this apply to both girls and boys? He said, I don't know, but Nafi said, the boy. Ubaydullah added, I asked Nafi again, and he said, as for leaving hair on the temples and the back part of the boy's head, there is no harm, but al-Qasa is to leave a tuft of hair on his forehead unshaved while there is no hair on the rest of his head, and also to leave hair on either side of his head. Narrated, Abdullah bin Ammar, Allah's Apostle forbade al-Qasa, leaving a tuft of hair here and there after shaving one's head. Narrated Aisha, I applied perfume to the Prophet with my own hands when he wanted to assume the state of Ihram, and I also perfumed him at Mina before he departed from there, to perform Tawaf al-Ifada. Narrated Aisha, I used to perfume Allah's Apostle with the best scent available till I saw the shine of the scent on his head and shine beard. Narrated Sa'ad, a man peeped into the house of the Prophet through a hole while the Prophet was scratching his head with a midrai, a certain kind of comb. On that the Prophet said to him, if I had known you had been looking, then I would have pierced your eye with that instrument, because the asking of permission has been ordained so that one would not see things unlawfully. Narrated Aisha, I used to comb the hair of Allah's Apostle during my periods. Narrated Aisha, as above, 808. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet used to like to start from the right side as far as possible in combing and in performing ablution. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, Allah said, every good deed of Adam's son is for him except fasting, it is for me. And I shall reward the fasting person for it. Verily, the smell of the mouth of a fasting person is better to Allah than the smell of musk. Narrated Aisha, used to perfume the Prophet before his assuming the state of with the best scent available. Narrated Thamama bin Abdullah, Anas never used to refuse a gift of scent and used to say that the Prophet never used to refuse a gift of scent. Narrated Aisha, during Hajjat al-Wada, I perfumed Allah's Apostle with darira with my own hands, both on his assuming ihram and on finishing it. Narrated Abdullah, Allah has cursed those women who practice tattooing and those who get themselves tattooed, and those who remove their face hairs, and those who create a space between their teeth artificially to look beautiful, and such women as change the features created by Allah. Why then should I not curse those whom the Prophet has cursed? And that is in Allah's book. That is his saying, and what the Apostle gives you take it and what he forbids you abstain from it. 59.7 Narrated Humayd bin Abdurrahman bin Auf, that in the year he performed Hajj, he heard Mu'awiyah bin Abi Sufyan, who was on the pulpit and was taking a tuft of hair from one of his guards, saying, where are your religious learned men? I heard Allah's Apostle forbidding this, false hair, and saying, the children of Israel were destroyed when their women started using this. Narrated Abu Hurairah, the Prophet said, Allah has cursed the lady who artificially lengthens her or someone else's hair and the one who gets her hair lengthened and the one who tattoos herself or someone else, and the one who gets herself tattooed. Narrated Aisha, An Ansari girl was married and she became sick and all her hair fell out, intending to provide her with false hair. They asked the Prophet, who said, Allah has cursed the lady who artificially lengthens her or someone else's hair and also the one who gets her hair lengthened. Narrated Isma, the daughter of Abu Bakr, a woman came to Allah's apostle and said, I married my daughter to someone, but she became sick and all her hair fell out, and, because of that, her husband does not like her. May I let her use false hair? On that the Prophet cursed such a lady as artificially lengthening her or someone else's hair or got her hair lengthened artificially. Narrated Isma, the daughter of Abu Bakr, Allah's apostle has cursed such a lady as artificially lengthening her or someone else's hair or gets her hair lengthened. Narrated Ibn Umar, Allah's apostle said, Allah has cursed such a lady as lengthens her or someone else's hair artificially or gets it lengthened, and also a lady who tattoos herself or someone else, or gets herself tattooed. Narrated Said bin al-Musayyab, Muawiyah came to Medina for the last time and delivered a sermon. He took out a tuft of hair and said, I thought that none used to do this, that is use false hair, except Jews. The Prophet labeled such practice, that is the use of false hair, as cheating. Narrated Al-Qama, Abdullah cursed those women who practiced tattooing and those who removed hair from their faces and those who created spaces between their teeth artificially to look beautiful, such ladies as changed what Allah has created. Yaqub said, what is that? Abdullah said, why should I not curse those who were cursed by Allah's apostle and are referred to in Allah's book? She said to him, by Allah, I have read the whole Quran but I have not found such a thing. Abdullah said, by Allah, if you had read it carefully, you would have found it. Allah says, and what the apostle gives you take it and what he forbids you abstain from it. 59.7 Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet has cursed the lady who lengthens her hair artificially and the one who gets her hair lengthened, and also the lady who tattoos herself or others, and the one who gets herself tattooed. Narrated Isma, a woman asked the Prophet saying, 0 Allah's apostle, my daughter got measles and her hair fell out. Now that I got her married, may I let her use false hair? He said to her, Allah has cursed the lady who lengthens hair artificially and the one who gets her hair lengthened artificially. Narrated Ibn Umar, I heard the Prophet saying, or the Prophet said, Allah has cursed the lady who practices tattooing and that who gets it done for herself, and also the lady who lengthens hair artificially and that who gets her hair lengthened artificially. The Prophet has cursed such ladies. Narrated Ibn Mas'ud, Allah has cursed those women who practice tattooing or get it done for themselves, and those who remove hair from their faces, and those who create spaces between their teeth artificially to look beautiful, such ladies as change the features created by Allah. Why then shall I not curse those whom Allah's apostle has cursed and who are cursed in Allah's book too? Narrated Abu Hurairah, Allah's apostle said, the evil eye is a fact, and he forbade tattooing. Narrated Abdullah, as above 827. Narrated Abu Juhayfa, the Prophet forbade the use of the price of blood and the price of a dog, the one who takes, eats, usury, the one who gives usury, the woman who practices tattooing and the woman who gets herself tattooed. Narrated Abu Hurairah, a woman who used to practice tattooing was brought to Umar. Umar got up and said, I beseech you by Allah, which of you heard the Prophet saying something about tattooing? El got up and said, 0 Chief of the believers. El heard something. He said, what did you hear? I said, I heard the Prophet, addressing the ladies, saying, do not practice tattooing and do not get yourselves tattooed. Narrated Ibn Umar, the Prophet has cursed the lady who lengthens hair artificially and that who gets her hair lengthened in such a way, and the lady who practices tattooing and that who gets it done for herself. Narrated Abdullah, Allah has cursed those women who practice tattooing and those who get it done for themselves, and those who remove hair from their faces, and those who artificially create spaces between their teeth to look beautiful, such women as alter the features created by Allah. Why should I not then curse those whom Allah's apostle has cursed and that is in Allah's book? Narrated Abu Talha, The Prophet said, angels do not enter a house in which there is a dog or there are pictures. Narrated Muslim, we were with Masruq at the house of Yaz'ar bin Numayr. Masruq saw pictures on his terrace and said, I heard Abdullah saying that he heard the Prophet saying, the people who will receive the severest punishment from Allah will be the picture makers. Narrated Abdullah bin Omar, Allah's apostle said, those who make these pictures will be punished on the day of resurrection, and it will be said to them, make alive what you have created. Narrated Aisha, I never used to leave in the Prophet's house anything carrying images or crosses, but he obliterated it. Narrated Abu Zar, entered a house in Medina with Abu Hurairah, and he saw a man making pictures at the top of the house. Abu Hurairah said, I heard Allah's apostle saying that Allah said, who would be more unjust than the one who tries to create the like of my creatures? Let them create a grain, let them create a gnat. Abu Hurairah then asked for a water container and washed his arms up to his armpits. I said, 0 Abu Hurairah, is this something you have heard from Allah's apostle? He said, the limit for ablution is up to the place where the ornaments will reach on the day of resurrection. Narrated Aisha, Allah's apostle returned from a journey when I had placed a curtain of mine having pictures over the door of a chamber of mine. When Allah's apostle saw it, he tore it and said, the people who will receive the severest punishment on the day of resurrection will be those who try to make the like of Allah's creations. So we turned it, that is, the curtain, into 1 or 2 cushions. Narrated Aisha, the Prophet returned from a journey when I had hung a thick curtain having pictures in front of a door. He ordered me to remove it and I removed it. Aisha added, the Prophet and I used to take a bath from one container of water. Narrated Aisha, I purchased a cushion with pictures on it. The Prophet came and stood at the door but did not enter. I said to him, I repent to Allah for what? The guilt I have done. He said, what is this cushion? I said, it is for you to sit on and recline on. He said, the makers of these pictures will be punished on the day of resurrection and it will be said to them, make alive what you have created. Moreover, the angels do not enter a house where there are pictures. Narrated Abu Talha, Allah's apostle said, angels of mercy do not enter a house where there are pictures. The sub-narrator Busra added, then Zayd fell ill and we paid him a visit. Behold, there was, hanging at his door, a curtain decorated with a picture. I said to Ubaydullah al-Qurani, the stepson of Maimuna, the wife of the Prophet, didn't Zayd tell us about the picture the day before yesterday? Ubaydullah said, didn't you hear him saying, except a design in a garment? Narrated Anas, Aisha had a thick curtain, having pictures on it, and she screened the side of her house with it. The Prophet said to her, remove it from my sight, for its pictures are still coming to my mind in my prayers. Narrated Salim's father, once Gabriel promised to visit the Prophet but he delayed and the Prophet got worried about that. At last he came out and found Gabriel and complained to him of his grief for his delay. Gabriel said to him, we do not enter a place in which there is a picture or a dog. Narrated Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, I bought a cushion having pictures on it. When Allah's apostle saw it, he stopped at the gate and did not enter. I noticed the signs of hatred, for that, on his face. I said, O Allah's apostle. I turned to Allah and his apostle in repentance. What sin have I committed? He said, what about this cushion? I said, I bought it for you to sit on and recline on. Allah's apostle said, the makers of these pictures will be punished severely on the day of resurrection and it will be said to them, make alive what you have created. He added, angels do not enter a house in which there are pictures. Narrated Abu Juhayfa, that he had bought a slave whose profession was cupping. The Prophet forbade taking the price of blood and the price of a dog and the earnings of a prostitute, and cursed the one who took or gave riba, usury, and the lady who tattooed others or got herself tattooed, and the picture maker. Narrated Ibn Abbas, I heard Muhammad saying, whoever makes a picture in this world will be asked to put life into it on the day of resurrection, but he will not be able to do so. Narrated Usama bin Zayd, Allah's apostle rode a donkey saddled with a saddle covered with a fadakiyah velvet sheet, and he made me ride behind him. Narrated Ibn Abbas, when the Prophet arrived at Mecca, the children of Bani Abdul Muttalib received him. He then mounted one of them in front of him and the other behind him. Narrated Ayub, the worst of 3 persons riding one animal, was mentioned in Ikrimah's presence. Ikrimah said, Ibn Abbas said, in the year of the conquest of Mecca, the Prophet came and mounted Qum in front of him and Al-Fadl behind him, or Qum behind him and Al-Fadl in front of him. Now which of them was the worst off and which was the best? Narrated Mu'adh bin Jabal, while I was riding behind the Prophet and between me and him there was only the back of the saddle, he said, 0 Mu'adh. I replied, Labbaik, 0 Allah's Apostle, and Sadiq. He said, do you know what is Allah's right upon his slave? I said, Allah and his Apostle know best. He said, Allah's right upon his slaves is that they should worship him alone and not worship anything else besides him. Then he proceeded for a while and then said, O Mu'adh bin Jabal. I replied, Labbaik, O Allah's Apostle, Sadiq. He said, do you know what is the right of the slaves upon Allah if they do that? I replied, Allah and his Apostle know best. He said, the right of the slaves upon Allah is that he will not punish them, if they do that. Narrated Anas bin Malik, we were coming from Khaybar along with Allah's Apostle while was riding behind Abu Talha and he was proceeding. While one of the wives of Allah's Apostle was riding behind Allah's Apostle, suddenly the foot of the camel slipped and I said, the woman. And alighted, hurriedly. Allah's Apostle said, she is your mother. Solri saddled the she-camel and Allah's Apostle mounted it. When he approached or saw Medina, he said, O Ibn, to Ibn, Abidan, Li Rabbina Hamidan. Narrated Abad bin Tamim's uncle, I saw the Prophet lying down in the mosque and placing one leg on the other.